Fans of the CW revival of Charmed were left on a major cliffhanger, not to mention an iconic doorstep as the 4-season show concluded on June 10th. Because of this, many fans and viewers were left wondering what could have happened if the show pushed with the 5th season. Well, wonder no more, because for today's video, we'll be sharing with you what could have happened in the Charmed multiverse. Keep on watching to find out more. Season 5 of the Charmed remake was cancelled, but what would have happened in the Charmed multiverse? The present Charmed ones, Mel, Maggie, and Michaela, arrived at the sisters' house from the original Charmed, and invited themselves inside when no one answered the door, bringing the series to an early finale. Even if the Vera-Danso and Halliwell-Matthews covens may never meet in person, the story is not over yet. According to executive producer Joey Falco, even though this show has ended, these ladies' journey doesn't end. He further added, "They're still fighting. We weren't going to end with them sitting around a table reading stories to their grandkids as the original show did. The battle continues, which is where we want to leave the audience. They're still out there fighting. What might the 5th season of Charmed have offered viewers? Watch for the teases below from Falco and EP Jeffrey Lieber, and then leave a comment with your own hypothetical hopes for the sisters' future." One of the things we could have seen if season 5 of the show pushed through is Mel in charge. The Blue Camellia being operated by Mel was certainly an homage to Piper operating P3 in the original series, and Falco even suggested that Mel might eventually change the name to P3 or M3. Lieber claims that Mel would have made a great manager when asked how she would perform in her new role. According to Falco and Lieber, that's probably the meeting point between the Mel who started the show as the irate campaigner and the Mel who discovered herself along the road. Being in charge and attempting to control the myriad forces in the magical realm would be the ideal solution for her. Next, there's a high chance that Moxie is forever. Falco claims that he doesn't believe Mel and Roxy's love is finished. They would reunite in a fictitious future. More than anyone Mel had been with in 4 seasons, they shared a profound philosophical connection despite having such messy love lives. That partnership has a lot of potential for longevity. One of the writers' goals in season 4 was to clean up Mel's love life a little, and acknowledge things they didn't do great in the first 3 seasons. Lieber claims that it would have been great in season 5 to bring in some of Mel's exes and have those cars crash into each other. Despite Roxy entering another 7-year slumber in the finale, Lieber insists that the writers would have found some way to yank her out of there early, groggy, and confused and half-beetle. Another thing we could have seen in season 5 is Maggie and Jordan's next course of action, which is living together. Maggie and Jordan would have attempted to share a home after moving into the former's ideal apartment at Mel's request. Falco claims that their relationship is the show's happily ever after. He continued by saying that since the voyage had been so back and forth, they wanted to end the series with one satisfying love story. Maggie and Jordan would undoubtedly carry on, hopefully battling the forces of evil in a less mentally damaging way than they did at the beginning of this season. As for Michaela, we could have expected a new love interest for her. Kayla would always have a special place in her heart and teapot for Dev, but in season 5, she would fall in love again with a woman. Kayla is bisexual and has previously dated women, as briefly stated by Falco at the beginning of the season. He claimed that they excitedly made this arc with Dev since they got along so well and had an electric connection. Next season, they really wanted to focus on Kayla's other personality, and that was the goal. And for those curious about it, no, we won't be having a Hasty reunion. Madeline Mantock wasn't necessarily going to make another appearance, despite Jordan asking Harry in the series finale whether he was still sending Macy magical letters. Seeing her again is always a possibility, according to Lieber. Character deaths are difficult to deal with. You can't just ship someone off to Houston when they bring their A-game to a show. It would be like, why don't they call this character after every episode? You must therefore handle it. They made a lot of effort to incorporate Macy's passing into the lives of the cast members who were still present. Falco adds that this loss of Macy is still emotionally hurting the sisters in practically every episode this season. She appears in pictures and flashbacks. Although she's very much a part of this world, it was also crucial to be able to advance the plot for the trio while integrating Michaela since she needed that room. Harry's decision to obsess less on the dead and concentrate more on the living in the finale may therefore have been for the best. And finally, one of the show's biggest could have been is that it could have opened the door to a Charmed multiverse. It wasn't intended for Mel, Maggie, and Kayla to find themselves at the original Charmed Charmed home. Falco claimed that it was actually intended to unlock the door to a Charmed multiverse. There were going to be phone calls made about which cast members are available and who's willing to do it, he admits. We had a very flexible plan based on those logistics, but we never had those conversations because we weren't going to have them until we got a pickup. So we'll never know who may or may not have made an appearance. Oh, the possibilities. The showrunners and writers of the show were always on the lookout that the show could get cancelled. Considering the CW's history of cancellations, they programmed themselves to be ready for the worst. So when it came, they'll be prepared. And it did. Hours after the cancellation announcement, the writers of Charmed posted on social media that they were working toward a resolution for the season finale. As you can tell by the amount of change happening today, we, the writers, were always aware that cancellation was possible, they wrote on Twitter. As such, we wrote towards closure, meaning we're not leaving you hanging. Moreover, there are some really cool things happening right up to the final frame. So, if you've been with us and are willing to stay with us, we promise you won't be left in the lurch. If you regularly watch Charmed online, you are aware that the show has changed direction by including a new witch, played by Lucy Barrett. Barrett was a great addition to the cast of Charmed, working alongside Melanie Diaz, Sarah Jeffrey, Rupert Evans, and Jordan Donica, whereas many series suffer after the loss of a protagonist. Knowing that we can watch the series with a goal in mind is comforting. Nothing is worse than waiting for a beloved show and receiving no resolution. On the CW, many of the cancelled programs ended abruptly. Before the cancellation news, the seasons of Naomi, Batwoman, and Legends of Tomorrow were all over. Although the final seasons of In the Dark and Roswell, New Mexico have yet to begin filming, the finales will likely be edited to remove cliffhangers. The last 3 episodes of Legacies, which were cancelled after 4 seasons, were postponed to June amid speculations that they were being rewritten to provide a more satisfying conclusion for the Vampire Diaries universe. Even though not all people appreciated the Charmed reboot, some have praised the ending that changed what everyone knows about Prue's death. We can see why fans of the original Charmed series found it difficult to accept the reboot at first. Charmed from the 2000s was, is, and always will be iconic. Individuals continue to feel strongly about the Vera-Danso trio's introduction into the Charmed legacy, even after 4 seasons of the current edition, with many people leaning toward one side or the other. However, it seems the show's creators intend to permanently close the gap between old and new fans by including the multiverse in the series finale. In the finale, in typical Charmed fashion, the sisters were about to sacrifice themselves to save the world from a magical bomb that would instantly obliterate all magical beings. An original Charmed one named Inara, Nazneen Contractor, who went evil after a fight with her Charmed sisters, resulted in her being imprisoned for 10,000 years, detonated the bomb. The original Charmed sisters, including a transformed Inara, stepped in at the last second to replace the modern-day Charmed ones, absorbing the magic from the bomb to avoid their demise and rescue the world. The Charmed ladies were summoned to a portal in the waning seconds that contained the Charmed sigil, the Triquetra. They arrived at the Halliwell Manor's front door through the portal like Dorothy and Oz being summoned to Kansas. This homage to the original series and the Halliwell sisters was the ideal method for Charmed fans to honor the show's legacy. And that's about everything we have on the Charmed reboot. Did you love the show's ending? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel with the notification bell on for more videos like these. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.